So, have you ever felt like you knew all the right answers, but your life still felt, well, completely stuck? Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into a really profound tension, the massive difference between merely knowing the truth and actually living it out. You see, we often operate under this cultural illusion that freedom simply means personal autonomy, doing whatever we want whenever we want. But today's source material really challenges us to stop and examine the hidden hang-ups that secretly bind us. It's kind of like we might think we're running free in this wide-open field, when in reality, we're just pacing inside an invisible cage, holding the keys to our own cell. And that brings us to the big idea for today. True liberation is absolutely not a passive state of mind. It's not enough to just know the truth. We have to live it out every single day, as incredibly hard as that may be. It's a dynamic, daily choice to align our actions with reality.
Act 1. The context.
Let's set the stage a bit. In the Gospel of John, chapter 8, Jesus is talking to a crowd who really liked the idea of a Messiah, but, well, they weren't exactly ready for his actual demands. There's a great reflection in our sources called Papa's Take that highlights this perfectly. Papa notes that Jesus' ministry was a fight for the humility of the heart. He points out how the devil lies and clouds our hearts with worldly matters, spinning up this spiritual pride and arrogance that completely blinds us to our own chains.
Now, what's super fascinating here is the Greek word meno. It translates to abide, remain, or continue. So when Jesus tells the crowd to continue in his word, to be his disciples, he's showing us that true discipleship isn't just some one-time intellectual agreement. No, it means pitching your tent and actively living inside that truth in a sustained, continuous relationship.
Act 2. The tension.
This brings us to a really stark theological confrontation. Jesus shifts the focus from their physical ancestry to their actual spiritual condition. But the listeners, they push back. They claimed they were already free simply because they were descendants of Abraham. They completely mistook self-serving personal autonomy for true spiritual liberation.
But Jesus boldly shatters that illusion. He points out that actually anyone who yields to sin is trapped as a slave to it, entirely unable to free themselves. It's like being caught in an invisible rip current, right? You think you're swimming freely, but you're slowly being pulled out to sea.
And this brilliantly illustrates the divide. Jesus draws a really sharp line between two spiritual families. He explains that true children of God listen to the truth and love Him, reflecting faith rather than hostility. The crowd's desire to destroy and silence the truth, well, that just proved they were listening to the father of lies.
Act 3. The connection. So, what does this all mean for us today? How does this ancient confrontation connect to our modern emotional hang-ups? Look, if we're being honest, we really aren't that different from that crowd. Giving in to seemingly small sins like pride, anger, or guilt gradually weaves an invisible net around us. One thread might seem harmless, but over time, these choices literally strip away our ability to be who we were truly meant to be.
Our sources provide a fantastic metaphor for this. Think about a glossy travel folder. You will never find a travel brochure that says, "Hey, come visit, we have huge ghetto areas," right? It highlights the beautiful bridges while completely ignoring the hurt and the heartache. Just like that brochure masks the gritty reality, our own arrogance and self-assuredness often cover up the hidden chains enslaving our hearts.
Let's look at how this builds. Breaking free from these hang-ups requires an active progression. First, we hear the word. Second, we abide in the truth, we meno. Third, we let it transform the heart. And finally, we walk in true freedom.
The synthesis. Okay, let's bring all these profound theological threads together into a reflective conclusion for our everyday lives. Here are 4 key takeaways to help you practice daily obedience. First, acknowledge those hidden chains. Second, redefine freedom as a relationship. Third, abide in the truth daily. And fourth, guard your heart against worldly pride.
We have to remember that truth is not a fact you memorize. Truth is a person you follow. It isn't just cognitive data. It's a dynamic, ongoing relationship that requires our active daily participation.
As Papa's Take beautifully summarizes, true discipleship is tested in the crucible of daily life. It is not enough to know the truth which Jesus speaks, but to live that every single day, as hard as it may be. It demands that we turn our hearts humbly toward God.
So, I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought to reflect on. What invisible chains are holding you back from stepping into the liberating truth today? Are you ready to stop settling for the illusion of autonomy and finally step into true, life-giving freedom?